when we went into lockdown, the number one thing on our list was how do we look after each other loyally and deeply in this time, rather than thinking, what's the evangelistic opportunities? What's this opportunity? What's that? It was like, well, actually, it doesn't mean anything if we're not caring for people that we connect with. And so Liz has led that, and that we've got about 50 pastoral assistants or our carers that are phoning, and we've got people phoning friends. And is there any advice you would give to those kind of people about their own mental, because it's quite a lot when you take on a phone call and someone offloads you. What would be your advice about coming off that phone call without taking it on? One of the things my biggest strength is I care. One of the biggest weaknesses, I care, and I do it too much sometimes. So it's working out any sort of advice, really. Self.
I mean, one of the important things to mention in terms of our church work is that we're not there to heal people in a medicalized way. I say that with caution, but what I mean is, if you get a very complicated diagnosis for a very rare disease and you go to church and you tell people you've got that disease, people don't suddenly start offering you loads and loads of advice. Like, oh, if you try green tea, you should listen to this, like this app, it will really change your life. It's sort of, people say, well, people trust the consultant who's looking after your mental health. Sometimes where mental health is concerned, physical health, sometimes where mental health is concerned, Christians try and offer advice to see people who've got mental health issues healed, other than just praying for their ongoing healing, like we would for someone with a physical health condition. And they almost feel a pressure to heal someone with mental health problems. Many people have a lifelong condition, which will be controlled by medication. They don't actually benefit from the pressure to kind of be healed with the advice that people are giving. And I think, of course, we're always praying that Jesus would heal this person, but it doesn't help the client or the carer to be overly focused on sort of fixing this person who's currently depressed, or currently anxious, or currently has schizophrenia. The key journey is this sort of alongside friend part. So my encouragement to your pastoral callers and pastoral team is to listen as a concerned friend, but not to take too much responsibility for the mental health condition of the person that they're talking to. In counselling, we talk about transference and counter-transference. And these are complicated topics, but they basically mean that if someone comes into your office and they feel terrible, they offload on you, they feel better, and when they leave your office, you suddenly feel terrible. Transference is the fact that they've transferred their stuff onto you. And I always ask people about the motivation for caring. If you need to be needed, then that becomes a problem for you psychologically. If you're caring out of the richness of the compassion that you've received from Jesus, then you've got resources at your disposal to give away, but also you know where to go to be renewed in those resources. And I would always say to people, it's great that you care, but limit yourself, for example, to 3 calls a day. Don't do 19 calls back to back throughout the day and then sort of pat yourself on that head because everyone is received your care. Most people who are carers can get addicted to caring and then get over caring. And actually, the scripture says to love your neighbour as you love yourself. And actually, if you don't have any self-love, you can't really have any neighbourly love. So loving yourself might be taking breaks between calls, going for a walk, you chatting to a friend. I mean, lots of us who are in this sort of arena of work have supervisors or counsellors that we offload to regularly as a matter of course, just to kind of keep the tank empty. Otherwise, it gets filled with all this junk. But if you're not in professional care settings, you need to moderate your output, because otherwise your input, particularly your toxic input of other people's problems and challenges, can become overwhelming to you. And carers burn out pretty quickly. The best way of caring is caring long term, and that means really moderating your involvement and also knowing what you can do to switch off from other people's problems. I tried really hard not to carry the burdens that people put on me into my day. And often when I finished a call, I sort of dust myself down spiritually and say, God, for this person, I really pray that they would be able to proceed in their journey, and for me, liberate me to be free to care again, help me to care again.
Right.
So be cautious, and, it's not more caring to burn out You know, people used to say, "Oh, I'd rather burn out than fade away." It's terrible advice. The
Yep.
scripture doesn't say anything about burning out, and it doesn't say anything about fading away either. It says, "Run the race," and
Yep.
for that you need to be hydrated and you need to set the right pace. We'll, you know, say that on an aircraft, you know, you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you put on the mask of your children. However much you care for them, if you collapse and die in the aisle because you were caring for everyone, that's not really doing them a great favour. So you put on your own oxygen mask before you start helping other people with their breathing. So that's a key thing. Ask yourself always, how much have I received, and therefore how much can I now then give away?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I think it's, you know, as a church leader, I can say to the church that actually with the pastoral carers coming up, I've probably done less pastoral care than I've done when we were doing, because it all came, you know, it felt like it was all coming to me at one point. Not, you know, I'm really happy to listen to pastoral care, but it's something that's happened in this lockdown that has been positive in that, I think, for us as a church. And it's been good for me to go, oh, okay, well, there's lots of people can do this. So it's just been really enabling. But it's really great advice in relation to how do they look after themselves.